Hello, my name is Abby Linville, and this is my program completion timeline. So I first decided to enter into the field of education my senior year of high school. During that time, I was working for the school district that I was attending at their early childhood center, and I greatly enjoyed my time working and decided that teaching was a passion of mine, and so I decided to seek a degree in education. After going to college for a year, I was hired by the university that I attended as an assistant teacher at their university lab school. So that position gave me a chance, one, to work with mentor teachers that were providing me guidance all the time, and I was really getting to learn a lot from them while I was at work and attending classes. It also paid for a large portion of my tuition, and it also presented me with opportunities to supervise students as well, because we had students who were working and doing field experience hours and just working a college, like working to earn money during college. So I just got some opportunities to supervise people as well. From that, and getting a chance to work in a little bit of a leadership role, I knew that I eventually would want to take on a leadership role in the field of education, but I wasn't quite sure what that would look like yet during that time, because I knew I wanted to work in the classroom for a while, and I didn't know if I would ever want to leave the classroom. So I didn't know what my leadership role would look like, but I knew eventually I wanted to move into leadership within education. In 2007, I had graduated from college and started my first teaching job. I was hired in Turner USD 202, which is in Kansas City, Kansas. Grew up in Iowa and went to college in Iowa as well, and so I had made a big move to Kansas City, and I started working in Turner, and I really enjoyed it. I was hired to teach first grade and taught first grade for a couple years before I seeked out a type of leadership opportunity within my school. And the first step that I took was I joined the school improvement team, and I continued on that team for several years. Um, in 2012, I had an opportunity to supervise my first student teacher. Between the time I started teaching in 2007 and 2012, I had field experience students and practicum students within my classroom, but 2012 was when I had my first student teacher. And I really loved mentoring my student teacher, and I loved working with student teachers, so I knew that working with adults was of interest to me then. So I knew that I eventually wanted to move into a role where I was helping out adults, not just children. Um, During that time, I was presented with an opportunity to have my master's paid for, and so I got my master's in education with an emphasis in English as a second language from Fort Hays State University, and I graduated with that in 2014. I felt like I was working in a community where I was serving ESL students, and I really wanted to make sure that I was highly qualified in that area, so I took that opportunity and ran with it and had a great experience at Fort Hays. I then had an opportunity to work with leading educators, which was grant funded through the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City, and they really worked at developing teacher leaders, and I learned a lot working with leading educators about providing feedback to teachers and really just what teacher leadership looks like, and how to build those strong relationships to be a teacher leader. So after doing leading educators, I moved into an instructional coach role in Turner. When I first took on that role, I was working with second and third grade teachers, and that was my first opportunity to really move into a role that was outside of the classroom, so I wasn't working with students anymore, and I was working primarily with adults. And that's a little bit of a shift of a mindset, which I had had the student teachers before and worked with practicum students, but instruction coach is a little bit different because you're working really one-on-one with teachers and really helping them hone in and develop their skills. It also gave me an opportunity to plan a lot of professional development, which I did a little bit of that during leading educators, but as an instructional coach, I get a lot of opportunities to not only attend professional development, but to develop professional development on my own and present it in my school district. So it gave me a lot of opportunities to do that. It's my instructional coach role is unique in that I serve an entire district and not just one school building. And so I get to work across 4 buildings. And through that, I've gotten to work with 4 different types of principals and see how different schools run. And as I have worked as an instructional coach over the years, I miss being in one building and really getting to hone in and work on improving a building as a whole. And because I'm missing kind of that building feel, and I feel like I have more to offer and I want to make a greater impact, I decided that I would love to move towards building administration. And so last spring, I decided to go ahead and enroll and get my educational leadership endorsement. And so I started that, and I knew that I had had a great experience getting my master's at Fort Hays State. And so I decided that I would start that again here at Fort Hays State because I knew it was would be a great program. I had colleagues who had went through it as well. So I knew that I would get a lot of good knowledge and gain a lot of leadership skills coming back to Fort Hays State for this program. I started in the summer 2021. I took 2 classes over the summer. I took the Introduction to School Administration and School and Community Relations. I enjoyed both classes. Intro to School and Administration taught me a ton about developing a school mission and vision statement. And School and Community Relations taught me how to think broader than just your school and how you can really create a community that will support your schools if you really involve that community in there, and thinking about ways that you can reach out and make connections within your community. That's something that I didn't have a lot of opportunities to do as an instructional coach. I'm able to work with the teachers in the district, but I don't get to step outside of it very often. So it was great to reflect on that, and it allowed me to have dialogue with our community school liaison and learn about what we're currently doing in my district. So I really appreciated that course. In the fall of 2021, I took 3 courses: school law, supervision and evaluation of personnel, and special education for school leaders. Also, school law and special education for school leaders really got me thinking about the law and how it applies to the school setting. It's a lot of things that you don't necessarily know about unless you are a building administrator. And after I took them, I was so glad I did, because I felt like I had a better understanding of why we choose to do the things we do and the way we do them. And supervision and evaluation of personnel, I gained a lot from that class that I could actually use as I complete observations of teachers now in an instructional coach role, and what it looks like to give really quality feedback. And those type of tools in your toolbox are always needed for sure. I started my e-portfolio in November. I will be honest, I just started dabbling in it and looking at what I needed. I was looking at what type of practicum hours I needed and what I had completed so far, and kind of chunking that out. I had a couple colleagues who went through Fort Hays State, so we talked about what they had did for their portfolio and where they chose to get their practicum hours out at. And so I kind of went through that same process and talked to them about it and gained some ideas, and looked at what hours I had already completed, and then started looking at what are the other pieces that I needed to start completing as well. this spring, I am completing my building finance course, which would be my final course. And then I am also completing my e-portfolio. So I will be done with my program by the end of the spring 2022 semester, which is really exciting for me. Um, I would like to move into an administrative role, and if at the end at spring 2022, if there was something open and available, I would definitely apply for it within my school district. If not, then I would look more towards at that in 2023. I really enjoy being an instructional coach in the role that I'm in, so I would be fine staying put for another year. But after that, I really think I want to grow and expand and move into an administrative role. I would eventually, I think one day, like to consider moving into a district level position. I really like to take things one step at a time because I really want to see where my passion leads me. But I could see wanting to go back into the district level position, specifically working with curriculum because I feel really passionately about curriculum, and in an instructional coach role, I get to do a lot of work with it and enjoy it. So that's something that I would consider one day as well. I I really haven't thought that much about when I will retire, but I'm thinking around 2044 that I would retire. I would like to travel, and I hope that by then I have my children, I have grandchildren that I'll want to spend time with. So that seems about the right time that I would want to retire. And then I don't know if I'll ever truly fully leave education. I would definitely think that after I retire, I would want to volunteer in the school district that I work in, and maybe even substitute, because we all know that there's a sub shortage right now, and hopefully that's taken care of by then. But I know how badly they're needed in school, so I could see myself continuing to do that. Um, that is my program completion timeline. I appreciate you listening to my timeline, and thanks.